Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. Quick and easy one today. Quick and easy. We're gonna make a scone or a scone. However you want to say it. Doesn't really matter to me. So in this bowl, I've put flour, sugar, salt, baking soda, and baking powder. And just give that a quick stir. Don't have to go crazy. Okay, pretty simple. Next I've got butter, and I have cut it into little cubes, and we're going to put that in. And I'm just going to work this with my hands, breaking up the butter into the flour, just with your fingertips. Pretty easy to do, just like when we made rough puff pastry. And this is where I suppose I'm supposed to tell you to use grass-fed butter from a single cow herd that only grazed on the western side of a grass slope somewhere. Use whatever butter you've got on hand. Quite frankly, I use no name or store brand butter because I know how butter is processed in Canada, and I know how it goes through the processing, and it's pretty much all the same. It's all about 82% butter fat. And most of the people trying to tell you to use the European butters, they often bring up that European butter is 84% butter fat. I'm not going to pay triple the price for 2% more butter fat. My own personal opinion. Do as you must. It's your kitchen. Do as you must. That's just not my thing. Part of that is probably my own remorse for working in advertising my entire life and convincing you that a certain type of butter was more important and that you needed to spend more money on better butter. I'm sorry. I am sorry that I did that with my life. This looks great. I love using machines. You know that I love using machines. You see me use machines all the time. But there's just something so soothing about stopping and using your hands to do something really sort of tactile like this. And just taking a few moments just to think about what you're doing, slow down, enjoy life. Okay. That's amazing. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now, next up is buttermilk. I need about a half a cup of buttermilk. About that much. Half a cup. And I'm going to crack an egg in there. And we'll whisk that up. If you've been here a while, you know I'm all about breaking the rules. I find a lot of rules around baking and cooking they're just BS. A lot of them. And if you don't have buttermilk, don't fall into the trap that Big Vinegar has laid for you. Putting vinegar in milk does not make buttermilk. Putting vinegar in milk just means you put vinegar in milk. You'll bring the acid that the soda needs in order to give you the rise, but you're missing out on all of the flavors that buttermilk has. Buttermilk is fermented. That's how the acid is produced. It's fermented. And so if you don't have buttermilk, think of the other fermented dairy products that you might have in your fridge, like sour cream or plain yogurt. And I've heard from a lot of people in the comments that plain yogurt is something that they can't get where they live. All yogurt is flavored apparently now, which doesn't surprise me. Kefir is another one, but if you don't have buttermilk, you probably don't have kefir. So what I would do is buttermilk powder. A lot of people love buttermilk powder. I've never used it because I always seem to have buttermilk, sour cream, or yogurt in my fridge. If I had sour cream or yogurt, I would put about 30% of the total volume of buttermilk needed as sour cream or yogurt, and then fill it the rest of the way with milk, and then use that. It'll bring the acid, and it'll bring all of the other flavors that you get with buttermilk. There are so many cooking shows on Big Vinegar's payroll. It's amazing to me. Okay, put that in. To this, we're also going to add currants, which are dried grapes, which makes them a raisin, and candied orange peel and lemon peel. And we'll just bring that together starting with the fork. Okay, I get it to come together in the bowl and then just out onto a baking tray with a little bit of parchment paper on it and then shape it into a circle there. Circle-ish. It doesn't need to be perfect. Of course, you could roll this and, use an individual cutter and make, perfect little round scones if you wanted to. I go back and forth. I do it a bunch of different ways. I like it a little thicker, about the length of my thumb from the first knuckle. Then we'll cut it into 6. Maybe 8. Okay, so I've got an egg. I'm just going to do a simple egg wash on top. A little bit of sugar, if you wanted to. Sprinkle some sugar on top, if that's your thing. Either, regular old sugar from the countertop or icing sugar. Totally up to you how you want to do that. I've made them with a little bit of brown sugar on top. Really, really good. So, brush it on. You can cut the egg if you wanted to. You could cut it with some milk. Works great. Cut it with a little bit of water if you wanted to. And if you didn't want to egg wash it, don't. Don't feel you have to. And off to the oven. The oven is preheated to 375, and I'm going to leave this maybe 20-25 minutes before I check it. It could take 30 or 35 to be done.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friends. You're giving that a good once-over, my friend.
Well, I was waiting for it to tell me whether it wants to be known as a scone or a scone, but it was nondescript, non-committal. Nope. It doesn't care what you call it.
Tastes the same.
Tastes the same. So, we got a big rise. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pulls apart. It's got that texture that you would expect, kind of like it pulls apart and it's crumbly.
It's soft.
Soft.
Not quite as dense as a biscuit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And really good flavor from both the peel and the currants.
Mm-hmm. I like it just fine.
Okay. This will do fine for breakfast.
Mm-hmm. And snack right now.
After
Have some tea?
Yeah, after dinner, having a snack, mid-afternoon, pot of tea, whenever. And it comes together really quickly. It is the kind of thing where you could get up in the morning and 45 minutes later drop that on the table for breakfast. Right? Hot out of the oven.
Sorry, I'm just trying to imagine my brain pulling it all together in 45 minutes as well. There's 2 parts to that morning. It's both about having the time and having your brain fully, ready.
Okay, if you're an overachiever Instagram star whose life is perfect,
You're on this.
you could pull that together in 45 minutes and have it on the table for your family.
Not me.
Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Thank you, everyone, for making it to the end of the video and for hanging on to watch this next bit. As in past years, in 2026, I will again be raising money for Hope Air. Hope Air is a charity here in Canada that connects people in need of medical care or medical treatments with transportation to get from where they live to where the treatment is available. In Canada, healthcare is universal. Healthcare is freely given to anyone who steps up and says, I need treatment or I need care. The problem exists in the way, the sheer size of Canada's geography and the way our population is distributed. There are some people who live in areas that are underserved by healthcare, and they need to travel to the larger centers, be it Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Winnipeg, Montreal, Halifax, or St. John's. There are people who live in Canada's north or in more remote areas where getting to one of those centers to get treatment, be it cancer treatment or ongoing operations for some other health concern, getting to those centers is incredibly difficult, incredibly stressful, especially if it's a child that needs this health care. There are places in Canada where you could be driving 10 or 12 hours to access the treatments that you need. There are places in Canada where there is no road access. You may live in a town that is fly-in only. So what Hope Air does is utilize private pilots like myself who volunteer their time to fly to some of these locations, pick up people, and bring them to the treatment that they need. Or at least bring them to a larger center where they can get on a commercial flight, again, provided by Hope Air, to the city where the treatment is available. And for parents who are bringing their children for this type of healthcare, Hope Air also has partnerships with hotels where they can provide hotel stays for the parents during this, stressful time. For those of us that live in the big cities in Canada, this is something that we don't really think about. But there was a time where Julie and I lived in Northern Ontario, and we lived in towns and villages where, it was 3 hours just to drive to get to a grocery store, let alone drive somewhere where complex medical care could be given. And we were very cognizant of that when we lived there. I'm in the incredibly fortunate position that I can make a change, that you can help make a change. Last year, my viewers, you, donated $40,000 to Hope Air. That's an incredible amount of money. That really changed lives. That helped a lot of people. And I'm so thankful to you that you would open up and do that. It's absolutely incredible. And so for 2026, I'm hoping that we can do that again. In August of 2026, I will again be participating in Give Hope Wings, which is where a bunch of pilots like myself, we go out and we fly around and we raise awareness and we raise money and we sort of put a spotlight on the fact that this charity exists and this need exists and this gap needs to be filled. And so this summer we're going to the East Coast. Some of the highlights are Halifax, St. John's, Newfoundland, Goose Bay, Labrador. Then we're on to Rimouski and Trois-Rivières and ending up again in Sudbury. So I hope you'll come along with me over on the Flying Channel on that trip. Julie and I will be making it this year, and hopefully you will enjoy coming along with us. And if you can donate money to Hope Air, I thank you very much. I also understand that if you don't live in Canada, you may not feel a connection to this. I would hope that you you could find something in your community that you could help out with. I think that we really need to be a community of people that help each other. That's the only way through this, is to help each other and to give of our time to those that need it. So I thank you very much. So I will put all the links for Hope Air and everything they do in the description box below. Please check them out. And I thank you in advance for however you can help.